Welcome back, everybody, to the Barbells and Trails Podcast. I'm your host, Brett, and we're back with episode 55. We're here yet again. It's been over a year, and I haven't had any subscribers in a month. But, hey, it happens. I haven't been posting shorts. I haven't been posting clips. That's something I need to get back on now that I got other stuff finished and out of the way. That's probably something I'm going to be working on this week, or at least this weekend, to hopefully post continuously over the next foreseeable future. I want to try having one post a day for you guys yet again, and I would like to do the same on Instagram if you guys would like that. So I want to try to keep posting and growing this now more. It's been an interesting couple weeks. So I guess let me fill you guys in. So as of even last week when I recorded with Bailey, I am now an official Remax agent. I'm a realtor. It's all official. It's all done. All the work I've put in basically the past couple months is started, and now I'm starting to figure out how to hopefully grow my business and at least get it up and running. And let's just say that's kind of what I've been doing so far. Like, I've been setting up all sorts of stuff, getting access to different softwares and stuff that we use as realtors, and getting access to the MLS and Remax's stuff and all these different things in my realtors association for my area and all this stuff, and trying to get so many different things set up and running. Was actually what I did most of today. And just trying to figure it all out and understand how to use everything. It's been very interesting. Like, nothing crazy has happened yet. I mean, it technically just became like official as of Friday. So I'm literally 3 days of this. So I got a lot to do over the next week and a half to finish getting this startup stuff for everything ready to go, and kind of getting this off the ground, so hopefully I can start building some clientele and go from there. So I guess if any one of you is watching or listening and happens to live in Indiana and is in a need of a realtor, or thinking about selling your home and didn't know how, or wanted to purchase a home, comment down below. Maybe I'll leave a link to my email at the bottom so you guys can email me, or vice versa. But so I'm excited to get this like underway. It's kind of exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time. I wouldn't say nerve-wracking. It's just like trying to figure it all out and go from there. Like, the first processes and stuff coming up are going to be interesting. By the way, anybody that does want to possibly become a client, don't worry. I'm not doing this on my own. I have decades of experience behind me of people that's been in real estate for a long time. So it's not like you're just going with a newbie that has no clue what he's doing. But it is interesting trying to understand how they do things, because it's like the only information I've had is what I've learned from my pre-licensing exam. And it's, I don't know, it's just because that's so like buttoned down, and like how you're supposed to do things, or it's very specific and very, very structured, and it's like, it makes it seem so complex. And I'm not saying it can't be, but it makes it seem even more complex than it probably actually is. And I'm starting to realize that now, where there's just like little things where I was like, oh, I guess I don't got to worry about that much, depending on the area. So it is pretty interesting. And I can't wait. Like, one of the things I might end up promoting on here slightly, or posting somewhere on the YouTube, as I am creating a Twitter and an Instagram and Facebook for my realtor business, so you guys can go follow and check that out. I probably won't have anything posted yet, but I will be trying to put something together there so I can get that rolling. But no, it's gonna be a fun process. I think the next 6 months, 2 years, is gonna be interesting. Hopefully, the market kind of comes around in the next year. It's hard to tell. I mean, right now there's just such low inventory. The interest rates are one thing, but we can deal with it. We've had a lot worse in the past, not in my lifetime in particular, or for someone my age that's trying to buy a home. Yeah, this looks pretty crazy and expensive and scary. But it's like in the 80s, some people were getting mortgages for 18-20%. So this is nothing. Obviously, homes were also cheaper, but still, like interest rates do change. So it is interesting right now. There's just not a lot of supply, at least in our area. I don't know, maybe in other states it's a little different, but I feel like it's similar. And it's an interesting process, and I am really excited because let's just say like 2.5 years ago, I mean, I talked to Noah and I talked to my uncle and a few other people where I was like, I don't totally know what I wanted to do, but I was like, I want to own my own business. I want to start my own business somehow, some way. Don't know what that's going to be. At the time, I was thinking it could possibly be a gym. I'd love to open a gym. That could still be something I could see myself doing in the future. It might still be 5 to 10 years down the road, but I feel like that would be a very cool thing to get into. Not only that, but like the podcast, like obviously this isn't necessarily business. I'm not making profit off of this. And that's not necessarily why I made it, but I know that YouTube and podcasts and everything can become that. So this is just like me getting my feet wet of just like messing around with it and everything. And so in some instances, doing this might actually convey and help me grow, hopefully to grow online presence in real estate, because at least with the people in my office, I'm the youngest out of all of them by, I think, the next person older than me. I'm at least still 5 to 6 years younger, and she's also an exception. So I understand social media more, and I'm hoping I can possibly use that to my advantage and kind of try to grow my business on that avenue, which they probably altogether don't do near as much. So I don't totally know what's going to happen with that, but it is exciting. And so this is an interesting time to kind of see where this goes. But it's been interesting. One thing I'm going to possibly do, which I guess what I've been doing this year will help, is, networking. Very, very important as a realtor. And what do people, what do middle-class white, or what do middle-class men like to do? They play golf. This year, I've played golf more than I have in my entire life. In the past month and a half even. I actually played my first 18 as of Saturday, and let's just say I was not the greatest. I don't know what par would have been. I think par would have been like 75-ish, and I ended up with 131. So not a prodigy by any standards, but I'm slowly getting better, just a little bit. I'm not a golf master by any means, but I also don't have a lot of experience. I'm slowly getting the hang of it. I'm picking up on how to adjust my swing just a little bit here and there, and how it's kind of affecting where and how I hit the ball. So it's getting better. It's just not great. So hopefully I get better at it. Who knows? Maybe at one point, because of golf, I end up landing some clients. So we will see. Other than that, I'm trying to think what else has been going on. My first 18. Not only that, but when we did go out and play Saturday, it started to rain, and we were the only crazy motherfuckers that decided to golf in the middle of this storm. And there was no lightning, so everybody else was hiding under trees trying to stay dry, and we just said hell with it, because we were playing 18. We had 4 left, and we were just like, oh, we're already wet now, like, why stop? Let's just keep going. And we did so we were golfing. Why, it was not a torrential downpour by any means, but it was not a light rain either. And so by the time we were done, we were all completely drenched head to toe. When I came home, I had to completely change all my clothes. It was ridiculous, but somehow we all seemed to play better when it started raining and during the rain, which don't make sense. I don't know if it just kind of loosened us up. It was like a weird coincidence, because after the rain stopped, we seemed to play worse. But it was a lot of fun. Not only that, but JJ KSI had a fight as of Saturday, my bad. And it was very interesting. The whole event was pretty good. I did like the event as a whole. I'm just trying to think. I kind of forgot what happened with Deji's fight in particular. It seemed to just kind of be a blur. It wasn't a bad fight. It wasn't a bad fight. It just, I don't totally know. I can't remember how. I know he won, but I can't remember if it was a KO or what exactly happened. He fought Swarms. I don't think it was a KO. And Swarms did pretty well. He did lose a lot of weight, so everybody's like, oh, we don't totally know what this guy's going to be able to do. He's like had a whole body transformation and all these things. But I don't know. It's just like the fight was good. Apparently not the most memorable, but I think it's just because Swarms himself was just basically on the defense the whole time. So that didn't help with entertainment necessarily. But the rest of the fights, there's 2 female fights, both pretty good. The other fights, I'm blanking on the guys' names. Salt Poppy's fight was interesting. He lost. This is his first loss so far. And the way the Anthony Taylor fought was pretty interesting. It was almost like cheap boxing, but it was a way for him to try combating Salt Poppy and win. And I mean, it did do the job, but just how he was doing it was very weird. It was like a very was not uncalled for, but a abnormal fighting style. But I mean, it worked, and it was kind of weird because it wasn't as head on. And I get it. You gotta take your opponents as they are and kind of change up what you got to do to try winning and everything. It's just, I don't know, the way he did it, it was a little eh. Now, when we get down to the JJ's fight, KSI's fight, JJ and Joe Fournier. Okay, it didn't last very long. It's probably controversial. I have not been on the internet really the past couple days, so I would be interested to see a response from him. But it was a knockout win by JJ in the second round. And I have to admit, he was fighting well, and Joe Fournier did kind of seem nervous or scared, which is very weird. Maybe he was impressed by JJ, and after he got into the ring, actually realized like this is going to be more of a fight than I might have signed up for. And I didn't think he was actually maybe as good as he is. Because I mean, his last fight wasn't bad. It just didn't last very long, so it was kind of hard. Like his fight before that, it was hard for someone to necessarily see how good he is and really judge his skill. And Joe Fournier is a pro boxer. Yes, he's in his 40s or 40. He's 11 years older than JJ, but he's a 9-0 boxer. I don't know how long he's been retired, so that could have something to play with it. But the big thing was that he got knocked out. And the knockout itself was absolutely ridiculous when it happened live, and as fast as it did, I was in shock because I was like, holy shit, that was out of nowhere. This guy just got knocked on the floor like there was no tomorrow, and it happened so quickly. And then it kind of got silent, and people were like trying to do whatever, and JJ's celebrating, and he has every right to. And then you look and they do the replay, and I'm like, I want to see that punch because like that was ridiculous. And you look, and it looks, at least from the angle and everything, that he actually elbowed him in the face. And not necessarily purposefully, but he caught his jaw with his elbow. And I think that if that punch would actually connected, it probably would have put him out anyways. But an elbow is illegal, and it is a harder surface. So some people, I have a feeling that on Twitter and everything else, are going to be like, oh, JJ, like, it doesn't deserve that win, whatever. I think technically, in most boxing situations, that would have been considered a disqualification because of the elbow. But because the ref and probably the judges at the time when it happened did not see it, and it happened so quickly, they already called the fight to JJ as a KO, and it was too late to necessarily change it. But I have a feeling he'll probably release a video this week talking about that, so that will be interesting because he was fighting pretty well, and I kind of wanted to see him go the distance, which that didn't happen. But yeah, him catching the elbow, I know he's gonna get a lot of slack for it, and everything. And I know like Jake Paul and other people are gonna say something, but it would be interesting if he does end up landing a fight with Tommy Fury, which is who he called out, and ended up in the ring at the end of the night. So we'll just see. I don't know. He's good. He makes it sound like, at least his manager made it sound like, he doesn't have necessarily many fights left in him. Like JJ doesn't want to necessarily box too much longer. Like he just wants to kind of like prove a point and then probably get out of it, which is fair enough. Like this isn't something he does full time. Takes away from his YouTube career, his music career, and a bunch of other stuff. So I understand why he probably isn't going to do this on a super long-term scale. So I could see him maybe doing this like another year or two. I would say max 4 or 5 more fights. Like if he does maybe one more by the end of the year, I could see that possibly happening, and then maybe having 2 more next year or something. I don't know. We'll kind of see. Like I could see him fighting Tommy Fury, and then I could see him possibly fighting Jake Paul. If not Jake Paul, at least yet, or if it was Jake Paul, I don't know who he'd fight necessarily after that. But I could see him having at least another 4 fights, which I feel like would make kind of sense before he kind of dipped out. But like just with Sidemen in general, he like in the past year has had a lot less of a involvement with it because he's been gone at camp and fighting and training and doing everything. So I mean, it does kind of, I don't know, like he's just not around in that, and that's a company he's a part of and a group he's a part of. So it is kind of weird when you don't see him, let's say, for months. And so I don't know if that's why, or let alone like music. Like, was it last year or a year and a half ago? Might have been last year technically, was when he released that album. But like he's focusing on music a lot more a year ago, year and a half ago, and now he hasn't released a song in 10 months or more. So like, and that's probably partially because of the boxing, and he's probably not working on music right now. So it's interesting to see what he's going to do. But so I don't know. It's going to be a controversial win for sure. So I'll be interested to see what JJ says, especially once he sees the footage and realizes that he did elbow him. Not that I wouldn't want to give him the win. He was definitely winning it, but the guy did get knocked out, but it was at the cost of him elbowing him in the face. So it's like, what do you do in that scenario? But not only that, I actually forgot to talk about this last week, but I guess it means it gave it time to kind of sit and let more people see it. So spoiler alert to begin with. But I went and saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. the day after release. Absolutely amazing movie. I loved it. I think it's honestly my favorite Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I've always liked the Guardians of the Galaxy in general. Watching like the first and second one back, definitely you can just see the feel of Marvel has changed over the time frame from then to now on like how the characters are and how the movie is itself. But this one was really good. It was kind of long, but there was a lot going on, and the plot was really good. I loved how they ended it. Like, you thought there was a lot to risk. You thought Rocket was going to die. Like, it started off very fast and heavy, where you thought a lot of people were hurt badly, and that Rocket was gonna die. So it was very, very fast paced in that sense, where they didn't mess around and they got into it pretty quickly. Not only that, but they did play off of the internet suspicions of characters dying off in this movie, and by the end of it, no one died. But they kind of made it feel like there was a chance for almost every character dying. Like it was like they made it like almost every character had a time frame of where you thought that their life was in danger, where you weren't sure what was going to happen. I mean, with Rocket, Drax at one point, they kind of played it off like, oh shit, like he might really be hurt. With Star-Lord, Nebula sort of grew a little bit, both kind of early on in the movie, but a lot of stuff just happened like very, very fast. And it was really good. Like the characters were interesting. The villain was pretty interesting. It was kind of cool to see a backstory on Rocket and everything with that. And then also them hinting that like there's more to him than just him being a regular raccoon, which is very interesting, and I would like to see what happens. Like the post-credit scene was pretty interesting as well. Like I liked how they ended it. I like that they didn't just decide to kill off characters and they wrote them out of the stories instead of just killing everybody. So I like how they kind of split up, but no one necessarily died, and they all went their separate ways, kind of living the life that they wanted to, which I find pretty cool. Rocket being in charge of the new Guardians of the Galaxy is interesting. Whatever the hell Groot turned into, like being massive like that, that's pretty wild. I think that'll be awesome to see in future Marvel movies. If they're in the next Avengers, I would love to see it. I think the new Guardians of the Galaxy with who's in it would be really cool for a new Avengers movie if they're involved in it at all. Just because of who they have in there. Adam Warlock's character, really good. I like how they played him off. Didn't totally know if he's bad or good for a while, and definitely had like a childish consciousness to him because he was literally born yesterday. He was born early, and so didn't totally know how the world worked and how you worded things and certain shit, but he has immense powers and abilities and stuff. So it was really cool. Peter going back to Earth was something I didn't totally see coming. I did like that plot twist of him going back and seeing his grandfather and being back with family. I thought that was really cool. But very, very unexpected, but it made sense. Like, it was something I had never thought about, but when it happened, I was like, you know what? I like this. Like, this makes sense. I like it for the character. I like it for the ending of, like, the Guardians as we know it anyways. And then I also like how at the very end of the movie, they say Star-Lord will return. And it's like, okay, that's cool. So it doesn't mean Chris Pratt is gone, but we know that, like, Batista is out of Marvel. Zoe, what is her last name? But Gamora's done, at least for the time being, as far as we're aware of. Like, she's not doing any more Marvel movies. So it'll be interesting because they did lose like 3-4 cast members, and then 2 of them are animated. So it's like that one's not too big of a deal, where they just got a voice act. So it's not really a strenuous activity for them to make another movie. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting for the future of Marvel. I really don't know where it's gonna go. I'm trying to think what next movie there is to come out. So it's just, I don't know. It's weird. hopefully it goes well. But I really did like it. I liked how everything ended. It was a very happy ending for everything. Very entertaining. Loved the music. Some of the picks though for this one, I like the songs didn't hit with me quite as well as I feel like the last two movies. And I don't know if I just don't know that decade that he pulled these these songs from as well, and so they didn't necessarily hit me as hard. But I always great soundtrack. But I don't know, there just wasn't there was something to it where maybe for some reason I don't know that music as well. That decade, what was that? Was that 80s this time? Because I think it was 60s originally and then 70s volume 2. And I love both of those on basically all the soundtrack music is amazing. So it was just really well done. I liked how they brought in cursing for the first time. That was very interesting. So a lot going on. As for what's going to happen in this podcast or with this podcast here soon, I might have a guest next weekend. We'll see. That is pending, patent pending, someone you guys don't necessarily know about. So hopefully that happens next weekend. Noah should be coming home here in about longer than I think, closer to a month. But hopefully he comes on a couple times and we can do some stuff. So that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, lots gonna happen over the next couple months for me. It's gonna be very interesting. I don't know. I feel like I want to also enjoy life more a little bit and like make some memories and do some wild shit. Because I've been very caught up in like just working and doing other stuff and being regimented. And I don't think regimenting stuff isn't a bad thing. I think I did kind of let it slip too much there for a minute, where now it's like, okay, yeah, I do got to get back on a sleep routine. I got to get back in the gym. I got to count calories and I don't have to count calories, but I need to have a structure, I guess, with my diet and take charge of my diet and not just flimsy-nimsy all the time with it. And all that, but like I need to take charge of my finances a little more than I have been letting on the past year, pretty much, and all this, and like do certain things. So I don't know, like it's crazy. I'm like almost in a weird transition period for myself, slightly, like with a lot of things, and trying to really dial some stuff in now, and I'll be curious to see what happens in the next year. But at the same time, I'm kind of excited. We'll see what happens. But yeah, hopefully Noah's here in the next month, and he comes on a few times. That'll be a lot of fun. And hopefully I have my guest next week. But I need some books to read this year. Like I need to read a lot of books this year. I got a lot to do over the next week in general, but let alone over this year, like a lot that I want to accomplish and finish. And it is May. So my birthday's coming up, turn 22, a lot of stuff going on, and, you got to stay on it. You do. Otherwise you let shit slip, and that's not good. So it is kind of crazy. Like the past month, I haven't necessarily been at the gym much, and I did go in today, and I haven't necessarily even been focusing on my diet, but my physique and weight has not really changed. Like, okay, this morning I did weigh in a little heavy, but I think it was just what I ate yesterday, because then I had another day where like I was right where I was. So, just like a day ago, 2 days ago. So, I am kind of happy about that. I do need to start running because I do need to sign up for 5K. That's in, I think, 3 weeks. I need to start running again. I don't run very often, so I need to do that and be a little prepared for that. I mean, it's just a 5K, but I want to do well, personally. So, yeah, I gotta get after it again. So I need to kind of figure that out and everything. But yeah, hopefully we'll see what happens. I'm with this podcast and stuff. It'd be a lot of fun. Hopefully, maybe even this summer get a co-host possibly here. We'll see in the next month or so. But I thought just because, and I didn't necessarily plan this out, but I had some good topics. I thought they were okay. I just thought to end us off like I have in the past. I would do just a few cards from the Spark deck. I haven't done that in a while. Contemplated doing that with Bailey last weekend, but why not do some right now? Okay. Are you comfortable being vulnerable with your friends? If not, what would help you open up? Honestly, I'm the type of person that's very comfortable with being open. I've opened up to people about some shit pretty quickly. It just depends on if I can judge how someone kind of feels about it, if they're even down for these kind of conversations. And I like to open up. I don't have an issue with opening up. It just kind of depends on in the moment and in the situation of when to open up if I want to. Because it's like I don't want to open up at a wrong time where I don't get the response, not necessarily that I want, but I know that that person's willing to give, but just because in the situation we're in, they might respond differently. You know what I mean? Like, if you're around like a certain type of people or certain people where you can tell people are acting a little different, but it's like you get them one-on-one, they're a little more, oh, what's a word? I don't know the word I'm looking for, but you know, it's more intimate, I guess, the conversation can be. So like people are more willing to open up like that. So, but no, I'm not afraid to open up, so I can do that. What's something you're dealing with no one knows about? I think I've answered that before. At the moment, I don't believe anything particular. Off the top of my head, sometimes I do let myself slack, and I just wish I didn't. And I gotta be harder on myself, every once in a while. What makes you feel most like yourself? Oh, I don't know. Maybe just hanging out with friends and bullshit. And like, in general, I am a pretty goofy guy. I can be serious. I can be serious. I can have some interesting and like serious conversations, rough topics. I can get deep about certain stuff and a bunch of things, and I can work hard. But at the same time, I do like to mess around and kind of live. And I feel like for me, that's my way of living life to the fullest, is to be a little more outgoing, goofy, over eccentric, over crazy, kind of a little stupid at times, just because it makes life more fun. And this honestly happened last weekend where when we were golfing, like Kelvin at one point, which I need to get on here eventually, was like, what did he say? He's like, why? He's like, what did he say? What? I don't even know how he worded it, but he's like something about you being so stupid. Like, what is it with you being so stupid? Blah, blah, blah. Like, and I don't know the exact words, but my response was, because it's fun. And he was literally just like, okay, fair enough. Like, I'll take it. Like, I'll take that response. Because he's like, why are you so stupid sometimes? I was like, it's fun. Like, you know, like sometimes you can't take stuff too seriously, and you got to fuck around and have a good time and be kid a little bit on the inside, even though I'm 22 or someone's 40 or 30. Like, you got to have fun and live life like to the fullest. And I feel like if you don't kind of get in that childhood mindset every once in a while, like, you're not living to your full potential. Because we all have that inner child, I think, in general. And that's part of being yourself. And I feel like if you keep that cooped up too much all the time, you're not being your true self. Like, I feel like everybody has that. And if you don't let it out, you're missing a part of existence. So I feel like there's times when I do allow that side of me to completely come out a little bit and be a little more crazy and dumb and just have fun and having a good time. That sometimes is a more true version of myself. But you got to know when and where. You know, so it's like I'm not going to do that all the time, but with certain people in certain situations, yes, like 100%. You just got to have fun. Have you ever been heartbroken? Tell me about it. I have not. So moving on. What was something that happened within the last month that made you feel on top of this world? Passing my exam. I did, when I noticed that I passed, I don't know if I have said this on the podcast already, I screamed. I was yelling. I was like, fuck yeah, yes, let's go. Like, just yelling. And I'm in my house by myself, sitting in my room, and I'm just yelling because I passed it the second time. Some people don't pass it 4 or 5 times. And I passed it the second time. I almost passed it the first time, but I was hard on myself. And I really, really wanted to pass it that second time. So when I did, and knowing that all the studying and all the extra preparation, all the dumb stuff that like I really, really dislike was over, I was so happy. And so that was when I felt on top of this world, I feel like the most in the past month, for sure. Could you go back in time and say something to your younger self? I think I've done that one before. Okay. If Netflix were to make a documentary about your life, Who should they interview? Oh, my sister, for sure. Sister, sister Noah, sister Noah, dad. I feel like my dad, maybe my grandparents, but sister Noah, I feel like would be the two biggest ones, just because they've been around me. Not Bailey the most. Noah has been around me when no one else was in certain situations. I mean, so has Bailey, but like growing up and being a teenager, and we've had some situations and we've seen each other change a lot. So I feel like that would make sense. What's the hardest lesson you've learned in the past year? If you don't actually like get up, not get up, but if you don't actually like do it for yourself, it's never gonna happen. Like, I kind of let the realtor stuff sit on the back burner for most of the time. Like, I purchased it last April, and I barely did any of it until like the end of May of last year, and that's when I first like stopped. So I didn't even do it for a month, and it was very like splintered and not necessarily spending that much time on it. And then I really didn't touch it for almost 10 months, and then I just busted it out, got it done in a month, studied, and then passed my exam. Now I'm doing this, and hopefully can turn this into a career eventually. And over the next 10, 15 years, like this actually does something well for me in the very long term. And it's like, if you don't do it and you don't force yourself to do the things you don't want to do, or you don't actually get on yourself and like work on shit and be in the moment and get stuff done, it just won't happen. Like, it's like, if you don't do it yourself, it's not going to happen. And I feel like sometimes you don't realize that. Like, obviously it's very plain and simple, and most people should know that. But when you don't necessarily think about it, it kind of goes overlooked. Name something you'd like to celebrate with me. There's no one else in here, so what is one thing that would make our relationship more meaningful? I'm by myself yet again. When was the last time you cried, and why? I guess cried. It wasn't even like a real deep cry, but I did cry a little bit or teared up during Guardians of the Galaxy. And it was just specific scenes that got me. It was when I thought Rocket was going to die, and I think part of it was Chris Pratt's emotion and portrayal. That got me. And then not only that, but when he was with his grandfather at the end, that got me a little bit too. And it wasn't like a bawling cry, but I did tear up, and I had a lot of water in my eyes. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's about it. Okay, one more, I think, and I'll call it. If you could go back in time, oh damn it, how did that get brought up again? Dang, I think I've done that one. What's the most serendipitous moment? I don't know what that means. I have to look that up. What makes you comfortable to open up to someone? Have I earned this? Oh, damn it. Okay, wait. What fear holds me back the most? I think the fear of failure. Like, I don't know why. Because in some instances, it's like I haven't tried it. But I don't know, like it's a fear of failure for some reason in anything, even like cooking or exercising or physique or career or anything. I feel like that's what it is, and there's times it doesn't make sense, but it's just there. And not that I necessarily think I'm gonna fail, like that's not necessarily what's in my head, but there is this fear in the back of my mind of what if this doesn't work out. So I feel like that's probably my biggest fear, and it's not necessarily anything major, but it's something I'm learning to deal with and get through better. And that's kind of why I am now a realtor. So that was me kind of pushing through that fear just a little bit, and I'm not going to fail, so we're going to see what happens. But all right, well, I think that is going to do it for me this week, guys. I do hope you guys enjoyed. And if you do have any topics or something you would like to talk about down below, please comment. And yeah, if you guys want, hit me up if you're trying to sell or buy a house. But I didn't mention this, like I always don't, because I do feel bad trying to push this. But please consider liking and subscribing if you guys have listened this far. And share with your friends, tell other people, follow on Instagram, whatever. Follow on Spotify. But I will see you guys all next week, hopefully with a new guest. Peace out, everybody.